going on out there? Hey everybody, it's George the Tech. It's about time I get to testing a microphone. I haven't done a microphone review, I don't think this year in 2020 yet, so it's about darn time. And so I've got a mic that's been on my desk and in use actually now for a few months. So I feel like I can give a pretty honest summation, review, and thought on this microphone, and that is the Vanguard V4. Wow, there it is. The Vanguard V4. It is a very nicely made, beautiful, clearly beautiful and attractive microphone made by Vanguard. They're actually a company based in the Southern California area, and their microphones are kind of new on the scene. They have been very smart to produce, they've been very smart to get these into the hands of voiceover folks all around the area here and getting them into circulation so we can all hear how they actually sound. So let's stop using this cruddy lavalier and let's switch to the V4. And there it is. Man, what a difference a good mic makes, right? So the Vanguard V4, let's talk about this one. Well, I'm not doing an unboxing. The mic's been out of the box for, well, a long time now. But it does come in a proper road case. Here it is. It actually has in it, the shock mount goes here, and it has a nice wooden presentation box here. So nice packaging, a safe way to transport your mic. And it's kind of rare to see a nice kit like that with a wooden box at the price point that this mic sells for. So let's go around the microphone. Let me show you the features. And you're hearing the mic right now with a little bit of processing. So what I'm going to do is go into my Rodecaster Pro here. And let's just make sure that I'm not over processing the mic. So what I'm going to do is show you what's going on my interface. And let's go and make sure that in the effects area, we turn everything off. No noise gate. No Aphex garbage. Oh, there's one on there. Snucky, sneaky, sneaky. Turn that off. Why is this so hard? There we go. No de-esser. We'll go ahead and run it flat. No high pass filter. I want you to really hear how it sounds. Gate is off. Of course, no reverb. So there you go. Running this mic flat. I needed to have some proof for me and for you guys to make sure you knew that what you're hearing out of this mic is honest. So I've got a pop screen on it right now. It doesn't come with one. And frankly, if you know how to use this mic properly for voiceover, you don't really need one. But since I am borrowing this mic for the review, I do have a little pop screen on here just to keep it clean and keep spit from getting on the mic, which frankly, that's what I think these pop filters really are for, just simply spit guards, honestly. So this little pop guard that's on here actually is made by the Hook Studios, by the way. If you're curious who makes this cute little pop screen, let me take that little pop screen off so you guys can get a better look at it. I love how it takes up almost no space at all, but it definitely is a little challenging to put on when the mic is already in the shock mount. I would recommend putting it on before you put it in the shock mount. All right, there we go. So let's take a look at the mic. Let's look at the front first of all, the business end of the microphone. You can see it's a very attractive one, and it's a 3-pattern mic. I've never actually reviewed a multi-pattern condenser microphone for voiceover. Yes, I did review the Sphere L22. That's really in a category all by itself, so I'm not going to count that. But this is a proper 3-pattern condenser microphone because it has dual capsules. There's actually 2 capsules inside the head basket on either side, one facing the front, one facing the back. There's the front capsule, and there is the back capsule. And you can choose the pattern from the switch right on the front here. We've got it in cardioid, which is where most of you doing voiceover probably will have it. It has a figure 8, which I think is kind of magic, and I'll talk about that why. And omni, which is probably the least used pattern for, I would say, for voiceover. And on the back, we have the extremely appreciated high pass filter. And what's interesting about this mic is they opted to simplify it, and rather than have 2 separate switches, one for the high pass and one for the pad, It's actually one switch that does either. So you have the choice of either putting it on low cut mode or engaging the pad. Interesting choice, right? I guess the theory there is that if you need a low cut switch, you're probably doing voiceover or voice recording, and then you don't need the pad. And if you're doing other types of work like music, the pad might be more useful when recording kick drums or horns, in which case you really never would need the high pass switch. So it actually kind of makes sense. I don't see myself ever using both at the same time on any mic I can think of. So now back to listening to the V4 here. So I have it in cardioid pattern, and this is your typical pattern for voiceover where it's only one voice, the voice is in front of the mic. Why would you use anything else? Well, here's what's interesting. If you have a less than perfectly tuned acoustical space, you might find that figure 8 actually is an advantage. Why? Because in figure 8 mode, the microphone doesn't hear just about anything around its waistline. So imagine an imaginary circle all the way around the mic, around its center line. That zone around that perimeter is completely dead. It doesn't hear that when it's in figure 8. But it does when it's in cardioid. So if you have a booth or a recording space that's less than ideal, with a low ceiling right above, things like a glass door or window on the side, and a desk or a hardwood floor on the bottom, figure 8 might actually end up being your friend. But does it sound any different in my room? So my room, well, let me show you around. My room is a moderately sized office space. It's kind of an odd oblong, wider than it is deep. It's probably twice as wide as it is deep. It's got a pretty low ceiling, as you can see. Interestingly, it's raked, so it's not flat. I have one ceiling cloud panel above. Nothing from here all the way around the room. I have no treatment anywhere on these sides. Some clothing by the front door there. And then behind me, there's a random panel placed over there. Sometimes I put it behind me over here. A drape. And that's it. That's the acoustic treatment in this space. It's super, super minimal. So that's what you're hearing when I'm recording the V4. So it's pretty surprisingly dry and dead in here, right? Considering that. You can hear the environment around me. I'm in the woods. You can hear a bird tweeting away. But it's pretty dead. Now let's see what it sounds like when it's on, instead of cardioid pattern, figure 8 pattern. All right, now it's in figure 8 pattern. And you should notice right out of the gate a different response to the microphone. It's got a little bit warmer sound, a little bit more tilted towards the low end, a little less bright sounding, and it's kind of more dry and direct now, so it's not picking up as much of my environment. Now it is picking up whatever's behind the mic. So when it's in figure 8 mode, it does pick up both sides of the microphone. It's double-sided. That's what's unique about figure 8. But that is not usually a big problem in many people's booths, because the corner of the booth behind the microphone is usually, when it's properly tuned, full of bass traps or a lot of acoustical damping. So having a dead end behind the mic or a very absorbing area behind the mic like this with a figure 8 pattern turned on works to your advantage for sure. So that's what I love about a mic like this. Again, I'm not usually one saying you got to have a multi-pattern mic, but this mic sounds so good and smooth. It's very quiet. And at this price point, being able to also now have switchable patterns, it's kind of really a neat thing. It just makes the mic more flexible, gives it more than one personality, and I find it to be really useful. Let me go back to cardioid. And now I'm in cardioid. Sounds a little bit different, right? So you can basically see it's a great mic at a great price point, has a smooth top end response. It's not harsh, it's not sibilant. It's really not, I can make sibilant sounds all I want, and it never really stabs you in the forehead like an ice pick. So I love that about this mic, and it's definitely one I'm going to start recommending, especially to women who maybe traditionally sound too bright or sibilant on other kinds of condenser mics. So I love that about this mic. And what you see is what you get when you buy one of these. You actually do get this beautiful shock mount with it. It's part of the package. So it's a really good value. A lot of mics in this price point don't come with a proper shock mount And this is probably one of the nicest made and nicest looking shock mounts I've ever seen, really on any microphone, to be honest. Oh, also in the case, a nice protective dust sleeve. So if you're not going to use the mic for a while, you could put the sleeve over the mic and tie it off to keep it clean. Obviously, when it's hanging upside down, sometimes that's a little bit harder, but it does have drawstrings. Or you could just flip it upside down, put it right side up, and put the sleeve on it, keep dust out of it. And now, it doubles as a dust mask. Oh, did I try the high pass filter switch? I don't think I did. Let's try that. So here I am, the mic totally flat, nothing added to the low end or cut out, and here it is with the low cut switch engaged. And now that's with the low cut switch engaged. I use it a lot on voiceover recording because most home studios, there's a presence of rumble and low frequency noise, and this just cuts it off at the pass. Doesn't remove it entirely, but it definitely will reduce rumble in most home studios considerably, and as you can hear, it barely affects the low end of my voice, hardly at all. So it's a really useful feature. Anyway, there you go. That's the Vanguard V4, available right now from a lot of the top pro audio dealers out there. Currently, its MAP, or minimum advertised price, is $399. I think it's phenomenal. Based on a much more complicated, more expensive tube microphone that they came out previously called the V13, it gets you that same kind of sound quality, the same beautiful design at an affordable price without the pesky tubes to have to deal with. And I'm not really a big fan of tubes. Too much maintenance, too inconsistent over the long term when it comes to sound quality. Solid state, to me, is the way to go. Thanks, Vanguard. Thanks for letting me keep this mic for entirely too long. If you guys want to hear it used in context, the last 2 or 3 months worth of voiceover body shops that I've had to do from home during the coronavirus pandemic has been recorded with this mic, so you can hear what it sounds like when it's used in context of a live stream or a podcast. This has been George the Tech. I really appreciate your time. Subscribe if you found this useful. Hit the bell if you want to not ever miss anything I produce. It's not a lot. Don't worry. I'm not going to bug you too many times. Just when things are really interesting, I'll share it with you. Follow me on Facebook at George the Tech. I'm also on Instagram, George the Tech. I'm on Twitter, George the Tech. Basically, George the Tech all over the darn place. And of course, if you want custom-made processing presets for your setup, or a custom setup mix for your Pro Tools, or a podcast setup, whatever works, whatever you need to meet your needs, head over to georgethe.tech. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you on another one. Take care.